Paul Hamilton, our Sabres beat reporter, who also is down covering the Bills from time to time. You know, Paul, you'll be busy these next couple weeks, right? The Sabres offseason is going to be – it's funny. Offseason for the Sabres, for the hockey team, there's like 2 weeks now and then back at it and then off a little bit like later July and August. So anyway, welcome back.
Yeah, well, usually the last 14 years I've been there for the start of OTAs and – for the Bills and the whole thing. But, tomorrow will be my first time down there since so that's been a little bit different.
You get to look at the new stadium and drive by that, which appears to be done on the outside.
I haven't been down there in a little bit, so get a chance to see that. Almost. Mm-hmm. Do you realize that the Yankees almost broke a record from 1920 yesterday?
I did not realize that. What is it?
They scored 13 runs in an inning. The last time the record is 14, and Babe Ruth was in the lineup in 1920.
Okay. That's a Yankees record, right?
That's a Yankees record.
I wonder what the record is for most runs in an inning by any team.
It was insane. They brought 17 guys to the plate. It was like they had batted around twice, and had they gotten one more hit or one more guy on, Volpe would have batted for the third time in the inning.
Batting around twice almost.
Man, Paul was
going to
did
bat around twice. Yeah, they made it all the way around twice, and
I'm a third time.
That's
a good question. Batting around. Okay, now we're deciding batting around once or twice, but I know what you mean.
It's like slow pitch softball.
Yeah, right.
I've seen that in softball, but I've never seen that in a Major League Baseball game.
The record for runs in an inning's got to be in the 20s, right?
It's 18, and it was set in 1883. So the modern record is 17 in 1953.
Okay, it's been a while.
Modern is 1953, apparently. Well, Paul was going to ram that stat in one way or another in this segment. He came in with an agenda. Let's do it right out of the top.
Yeah.
I'm getting this in. 13 runs.
You had to get that in. And the thing about it, too, is they scored the 13 runs and still had not had an out.
So their 13th run came and there was still 0 on the board?
So you're disappointed there's only 13.
Wow.
So they had no outs, and they got the 13th. I think they may have had 12. I think the 13th came with 1 out. So nice. I think they had 1 out, no outs with 12 runs in.
Paul Hamilton, we're going to talk a little Sabres offseason here. Paul, the legend of Konsta Helenius grows. He scores the golden goal for the Finns at the World Championships. And I wonder what you think about this because, you're one to, if I could say this in a positive way, make sure, calm down, don't get ahead of yourself. But at the same time, like Helenius, from the time he jumped into the lineup for the Sabres and pretty much now at the World Championships, he's playing with Barkov, and Barkov's got all these great things to say about him. How high do you think things could go for him? And whether or not the Sabres would envision him. Obviously, they took him with a first-round pick. If even they're a little bit surprised by how quickly it's come together for him.
Well, it's 2 years in a row, by the way, that a Sabre has scored the golden goal.
Right, Tage
Thompson did that last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think safely say that Ostland and Kulig for sure and Helenius are done in the American Hockey League. I don't think they're going back. So, that's another thing that it's a good problem to have, and something that Jarmo Kekalainen has to figure out is, find places for these 3 players in the lineup, or at least find three roster spots for these players. It'll be Lindy's job to find out how to put them in the lineup. And it was interesting because, I had said that, especially in Montreal, that's a tough spot to put a 19-year-old, and at the time, with that atmosphere and everything else, and I just didn't think it was the right thing to do. And Lindy Ruff admitted they were having the same conversation, but then they decided, all right, let's just do it. But they were having the same conversation. Is this fair to him to put him in the lineup in this spot in Montreal with those fans and everything? And they were going back and forth about it, and they decided, you know what, let's just do it. And I think one of the reasons why is the attitude that he had. After the game, he just said it was a hockey game.
Yeah.
He just stood there, looked at it, he's like, yeah, it was fun. It's no big deal. It was a hockey game. I've been playing hockey games since age whatever, and so he has a unique perspective on things too, where he doesn't obviously get all, sure, there were a little few nerves or whatever, but he doesn't get all, this atmosphere is intimidating or anything like that. It's like, well, you know what? The fans are here, great, and we're going to have a hockey game.
And the fact that he's got like a golden goal, and he scored the game winner in the round before that too, Paul. It's like almost like, some guys when the lights are brightest actually get the most excited and get most into that. We heard that from the goalies in this, right? Like when you hear your name chanted, you are fired up and want to play even better. And I feel like what we've seen from Helenius is that knack in a big moment.
And Finland had to hold a spot for him. I mean, it's not like so they had nobody in that spot, so they were hoping that he would wind up being able to go out there, because had the Sabres won in overtime, then he would not have been able to get there and help them out. So that's what the World Championships are. If you want a guy like to come and deep into the playoffs, you got to hold a spot for him, and you play kind of shorthanded as you do that. But they felt they liked him enough that they wanted him there, and they held a spot for him.
He played on the wing with Barkov and Granlund on their top line, Paul. You feel like that plus what he did in the playoffs, he's one of these guys that might play great no matter what position he's at? Or do you feel like, in your mind, he's looked better at one or the other?
No, I agree. Same with Ostlund. It seems like those two, either they can play center, wing. It doesn't really matter. Ostlund, to me, there was no drop-off whatsoever, depending on which one he played. The one that I think has to stay at center is Kulik. When he was in Rochester, he was playing wing, and it just wasn't going. Then they threw him at center, and it was like night and day. I mean, all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah, there's the guy they drafted. And the same thing happened in Buffalo, too, if you recall. He was wing for a little bit, then Lindy put him at center. And at the last X amount of games, of course not this past year, but the year before, he really excelled playing center for, I believe it was Thompson and Benson, if I'm not mistaken. And they were a really good line together. And Lindy Ruff was counting on him to be one of his top two centers. And then all of a sudden, he winds up with this sickness and the blood clot and everything, and it didn't work out for him. So he's, of the three, I think he's the one that has to play center. The other two seem like they're fine either way.
Do you envision, Paul, like all three just being here and on the team, and you figure that part of it out, like you mentioned? Are any of the three more tradable than the other to you? Like, I know a lot of today, especially Twitter last night after he scored, was you cannot trade Helenius now. Like, you cannot do it. Like, I don't want to see them do it. And Kulik, you might not be able to just because of health concerns in the way you might want. So, I don't know, is one, I don't want to say one has to be traded, but I guess what one of the three would be the most tradable to you if the Sabres were in the market for a big name?
Today, I would say Ostlund is, of the three, the best two-way player. I mean, he's just as good defensively as he is offensively, and he's a big problem for the other team. I think Helenius is also a pretty good two-way player, and I think Kulik has worked on it. And that's one of the things I noticed when he was doing well at the end of the last season was his two-way game. It seemed like he really was paying attention to it and really trying to get better at it and was getting better at it. So I think anybody that would looking at would see a more polished two-way player in Ostlund, followed by Helenius. Now, in Kulik, you've got a guy who is a great shot and a good offensive talent, and he's maybe a guy that can help the power play for the Sabres. He's always been a power play player, was a fantastic power play player in Rochester. So, if he comes back healthy in the fall, which everything sounds like he might, there's a guy right there that could maybe help improve the power play. And does the three of them having basically to be in your lineup and earned their way there, does that affect what they're thinking with Tuch? Because if Tuch signs, they probably got to get rid of somebody. And I don't think Jarmo has a real appetite for that with the way he talked at the end of the year, saying it has to be a contract that allows us to get better. And what I took from that is we can't be subtracting players to get this contract. He wants Benson, in a long-term contract. He wants Byram in a long-term. But now he doesn't affect the salary cap next year. His contract is what it is now. Even Malenstein he wants to bring back as a big part of the team. Krebs, we don't know where they are with Kesselring, if Kesselring wants to be back or not. If Tuch doesn't re-sign, all those guys you can get them signed up and probably bring in a free agent or whatever if that's what you feel you want to do. So having those three players and knowing that they can play well in NHL caliber and the sky's the limit for these youngsters, does that change their thinking?
Paul, to that point, the timeline of this for Benson and Byram, if they want to get them signed, they can't do that until after July 1st, right? When they enter
Benson they can, not Byram.
Benson they can, okay. Because what I was going to get to was like Jarmo, they could also, of course, agree to terms before July 1st and not publicly, sign anything. But whatever. What I was going to get to was how much do you feel like the timeline of it will make things a little bit sticky for Kekalainen because if he wants Tuch but not at the expense of the other two guys and those other two guys become priority, and then by having them be that priority, it gets Tuch to the market.
Yeah, I think that's what would get him there unless Tuch is willing to get closer to the Sabre price, whatever that might be. And again, as we said the other day, we don't know if it's an issue of where does Tuch want to play, if it's an issue of money, or if it's an issue of the Sabres want to give him 4 years and he wants 8 years. So we don't know, what the issues are and what the stumbling blocks are. But but if Kempe got 10-6 or 10-7, something like that. So I think Tuch is the better player.
Yeah.
So you say, well, what would the market be for him? You would say around 11.
Yeah.
Well, the reports are the Sabres want to keep it under 9. So that's a big gap if those reports are correct.
Paul,
so it's I don't if it's 11 and it's 9 that we're talking about here, I can't see Tuch coming down to 9.
Yeah. Paul, you had in the past, like when we talked about this, say, like the Sabres, if they don't bring back Tuch, they might have a revolt on their hands. But that's before, like, this whole thing happens where they win the division, they win a playoff round. Both Thompson and Dahlin spoke at the podium about wanting him back. Do you feel like if he does leave, that idea that there'd be a major problem with the rest of the leadership, like they might not like it, but might they accept it in a little bit different way than you would have if you hadn't had this season?
Well, and the thing is, how could you make it so you can keep him? Is buying out Greenway an option? I'd have to look up to see what his cap figure would be if you bought him out, or trade him. Is trading Quinn? That's not a buyout candidate, but is trading Quinn an option? If you did both, now you've opened up some money that maybe you can get the whole thing done. I mean, I'm just spitfiring here. I mean, if you really want to bring back Tuch, and I still think he's an important part of their team. I really do. He brings things to the team that they don't have. There are ways to figure it out, but you are going to have to minus some people. And as I said, Greenway or Quinn, or maybe you don't bring Krebs back, but they love Krebs. They love the passion he brings to any position that they put him in. They can put him anywhere in the lineup. So I don't think they would have a real taste to let him go either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by the way, the Greenway buyout would be $1.3 million this year and next year. Or excuse me, the next 2 years.
So you're saving like 2.5, almost 3.
Yeah, and then for doing that, you'd have to pay 1.3 the following year. Yeah, like on Jeremy, on your question, like Paul, I feel like any idea that like the leadership they might be losing in Tuch, because he is obviously one of their leaders. you still have Dahlin and Tage for that at the top. And then I wonder.
Samuelson's one of the guys wearing an A too.
I was just going to ask you about him.
He has grown into a very good leader.
Right, and how much of that is because it's a lot easier to lead when you're actually able to lead by example, right? Like when you're wearing a letter and you're not getting the job done yourself, I feel like it's a lot harder to do that. But man, the way he played last year, like if he had to stand up in the room or do anything that you would expect out of the other guys, like I feel like he'd be in a spot now where he could totally do that.
Well, I think he's definitely matured. Just talking to him, in interviews and things like that, I don't think there's any question that he's matured. I mean, he still can be a little goofy and fun at times, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you like to have fun when you're at work, but I think being the player that he is now has helped him mature. He's more mature on the ice in the way he plays hockey, and he got through that. That mess with Thompson and all that, where Thompson got hit and they didn't do anything. And I had wondered, and, can he survive in the locker room with that? And I talked to NHL players who wondered the same thing, but he did. And he faced it head on and told his teammates it will never happen again. And it hasn't happened since, not even close.
Paul, and all these ideas about trading money, if you wanted to figure out a way to make it easier to keep Tuch, where on the list is trading McLeod? How expendable do you think he is? Because it's $5 million, and we've talked about how many centers they have.
That's a great question. His first year, I would say no way. After last year, I'm like, I mean, it was like night and day. I really liked the way he played the first year. Scored 20 goals, was a great two-way player. Lindy Ruff is the one who said that in the playoffs when they finally, put him down with Mallenstein and Greenway as a center, he said, I haven't liked his defensive play. It hasn't been up to snuff. And I don't, as you know, I don't put a lot of stock in plus minus, but he was like minus
7 in the
whatever
playoffs.
It was, and it was way out of whack with the rest of the team. And so I don't know how to answer that question, because if it's the first year McLeod, I would want nothing to do with trading him. If it's last year's McLeod, I wouldn't have any problem with it.
And you would still expect he'd have value. I mean, he's a center. He had 54 points last year, right? Like, wouldn't that be one of those where you're trying to identify the types of guys that will help you win in the postseason? And especially if they have a surplus there. Like, Paul, we've gone through the list. Like, they have 8, 9 centers we really can talk about for them for next season, and there's no trade protection. So I'm not saying I don't think the player is good. I just feel like, that's one way you could do it, and it's $5 million.
And if Ostlund is what I think he is and plays like he did, in my opinion, it's an upgrade on a two-way center.
Yeah,
he doesn't skate as fast as McLeod, and speed does matter. I mean, him bringing speed to the lineup matters. And he and Tuch are excellent at bringing offense to the penalty kill. I didn't see a slip in his penalty killing. I mean, he's an excellent penalty killer, but why wouldn't Ostlund be an excellent penalty killer?
Right.
I mean, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be with the player I saw up here this year. So I think you've got his replacement, and if I'm being honest with you, I think he's better.
Mm-hmm. Paul Hamilton with us. Paul, over the weekend, Chris Johnson was talking about how Devin Levi is someone that teams are showing interest in. No surprise, right, that his name's going to come up in the trade market this summer?
No surprise at all. As I've said to you, Devin Levi, if it were me, and now I have not heard Devin Levi say this or had any report that he said it, but the day that they claimed Ellis off waivers would have been the day I would have called Kevin Adams, or my agent would have called Kevin Adams and say, I want out. I mean, because, all right, he's in Rochester, and he's probably not real happy he's in Rochester, but he's lived with it. But only human nature would be, wait a minute, you just claimed a guy whose stats were almost identical to mine in the American Hockey League, and now he's your number 3 goalie? What? That would be my reaction if I were Devin Levi, and I wouldn't blame him at all if that was his reaction. So I guess I would say I probably would be shocked if he hasn't asked to be traded, but I have not actually gone to Devin Levi and asked him about it.
Paul Hamilton on the Western Hotline. Thank you, Paul.
No problem, guys. Take care.
Before we go, Paul, Vegas, Carolina, I want to offer a quick thought there.
And how dominant I don't know, Paul, that I've ever seen a team look that overwhelming against a team.
Bloodbath, the whole series.
That deep in the playoffs.
Yeah, but they're getting goaltending. I've been telling people that I know in Carolina that the only reason you guys aren't doing anything in the playoffs is you never get goaltending. Well, they have definitely gotten goaltending from Freddie Anderson, who has always been a very good regular season goalie, but now has been lights out in the playoffs. And I still think Vegas has been amazing. I mean, what is it, 19-2-1 under Tortorella? Is that right? It's something like that.
Yeah.
And he has just come in and turned that operation around. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'd have a tough time going against. Plus, this year's playoffs has been road teams.
Yeah.
Well, who has the road team advantage in this? I guess it's Vegas. Right. So, I'd have a hard time counting out Vegas as well as Carolina has played and as good as their goaltender has been. I'd have a hard time. Now, let's see. As far as former Sabres, I believe Carolina leads 4-2.
4.
If I'm not.
We've got Taylor Hall.
Let me get this.
Delorier, Eric Robinson.
5. I don't have Delorier. I'm sorry, 5 because he hasn't been playing.
Okay, who else?
Is Will Carrier there?
Yep.
So that's
okay. That's 4. That's
You're
5.
missing one who played very few.
Mark Jankowski.
There you go.
5.
I would have been here all day.
And then on the other side, it's just Eichel and Braden McNabb?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Unless I forgot somebody there because I forgot
That's a lot.
Mitch Marner, Paul. But no, I don't think not for the Sabres.
Not that one.
All right.
Not for the Sabres.
Well, Paul, enjoy the series. We'll talk soon.
Should be fun. Take care.
Thanks, Paul. I have a graphic up. Adam Gretz tweeted out a graphic of how the Stanley Cup final teams were built. Have you seen this?
Maybe, because I saw, unless this was different, a point being made about these two teams not having many high picks. There's like one, or is it 2? There's 2 top 5 picks maybe in the whole series.
There's one top 5 pick in the series on his own team. That's Svechnikov.
Oh, okay,
of course,
maybe that's what I saw.
Of course, Vegas has Eichel and they
Marner.
have Marner.
Yeah.
But the bigger point is, how many draft picks are there on these teams?
Oh.
Only 2 players selected by either team in the first round are on the team.
Wow.
That's really it.
And are they both Carolina?
Svechnikov and Seth Jarvis.
Yeah.
Those are the only 2 first-round picks with their respective team. The bigger point to me is not that. Of 22 players on this list of like how they built their team, I don't know why Adam Gretz said 22 for Vegas and 23 for Carolina, but of 22, how many of 22 for Vegas are trade acquisitions?
Oh, man. 15?
17.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They have 5 players they
everybody.
didn't trade for. Yep.
Who were the 5 they didn't trade for? Do you have that?
Dorofeyev, who's a non-first-round pick.
He's good.
Caden Korzak,
Okay.
non-first-round pick. William Karlsson and Braden McNabb are expansion draft, and then Carter Hart's a free agent. Every other player they traded for. To me,
Trades.
all the stuff about how Vegas operates, that's it. Oh, this is the way to build. No. What? We'll trade you all of the stuff that's supposed to be healthy. This is the way to build and win. Like, no, we're going to trade for all the good players.
Right.
Marner, Barbashev, Stone, Hannafin, Howden, Theodore, Cole Smith, Colton Sissons, Thomas Hurdle, Jack Eichel, Nick Dowd, Riley Smith, Keegan Kolazar, Jeremy Lauzon, Rasmus Anderson, Aiden Hill. All acquired via trade. The Sabres is a pretty trade-heavy roster when you get right down to it. And now we're seeing some growth from up. But, Tage and Tuch and Krebs and... you got a good number of trades in there.
Vegas doesn't have a first-round pick the next 2 years, and they don't have a second-round pick the next 4 years.
I'm sure they're really worried about it.
One of those they lost because of the media thing.
Right. That shows you the value of a second-round pick. The league, you didn't have a post-game press conference with your coach. We're taking away a second-round pick.
The only thing about that is annoying me a little bit is Tortorella is talking about that being a galvanizing moment for the team. Wait a minute. That's what sparked this all. They came together. It was Vegas versus everybody because they took our second-round draft pick because we refused to meet with the media.
Yeah.
Little aggressive to call that a galvanizing moment, I think.
If you have a thought on the Sabres offseason, throw it our way. Our conversation with Paul Hamilton brought to you by Raylax Honda. Raylax, we got this. 803-0550. You want to finally hear the thing that Tom Brady said that he's, I think,
I don't know that
and I hope, getting dunked on relentlessly?
All right, yeah.
Okay. Some people are lapping it up like everything they do from Tom Brady, and I think the right thing to do is to mock this man. He should be shunned for it. That's next.